Let's see how to define shear lugs in anchor plates entered in Sipe Connect. To do this, once the node has been created, we select it in the table on the left-hand side of the interface and edit the connection by clicking on the corresponding button at the top. This opens the connection window. In the Model tab, we must specify the operations needed to define the connection. In this example, we have added a plate to the foot of the column, made adjustments to the geometry of the sections, and entered and adjusted another plate that resolves the connection between them, together with the necessary welds and bolts. Finally, we have entered an anchor operation by selecting the first plate, indicating that it's a base plate on the concrete of the foundation element. In this operation, we can define the existence of a shear lug by activating the checkbox in the corresponding tab. Shear lugs are steel sections welded to the bottom of the plate and embedded in the concrete to transmit the shear forces directly to the foundation element, freeing the anchor bolts so that they can work only in tension. To define the shear lug, we first specify the parameters of the bar, such as its type, and select the material and section from those available in the library, which can be previously configured from the corresponding option in the general interface. Then, we specify the geometric properties, such as the length of the shear lug from the plate, the rotation angle, and the X and Y displacements about the local axes of the element. Then, we define the welds between the base plate and the shear lug. We can choose between a perimeter position around the whole section or a parametric position. In this case, we determine the welds of the flanges and the web. Within each section, the drop-down menus show various possibilities for defining the position of the fillet weld, the type of weld, the shape of the weld surface, and the place of execution, either on-site or at workshop. Here, we define the fillet welds and specify the throat thicknesses. We can also select the electrode and specify whether the welds have an initial displacement or final displacement. From here, once the model is finished, we can continue our work by opening the Analysis tab to carry out the connection analysis. The resistance verification of the concrete element for shear lugs is carried out by means of the compression resistance on the lug faces.